Hey guys, it's Rachel from Little Ring Lamb, and today I have another Top 5 Wednesday day. Today's topic is Top 5 Characters You Defend. So these characters I picked are kind of characters that are not like totally hated, but a lot of people don't like them, and I actually like them. And in this thing, I think I'll give you my defense because, I'm going to say I defend these characters, but I'm going to tell you why I defend these characters. So this one could be a bit of a longer Top 5 Wednesday, so sorry about that. But side note. The Goodreads page will be linked in the down bar, so if you haven't checked it out, definitely go check it out. You can join in, see other people's videos, whatever you fancy. So number 5 comes from The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, the whole trilogy in fact, and it is President Snow. Now obviously a lot of people are not going to like President Snow because, he is the evil one in the book, but actually the reason I defend him is for a few things. I don't defend his actions because, it's wrong to hurt people, but the reason I defend President Snow is because not only is he a villain, but he's one of those good villains in books. Like, you can have some bad ones, like Janine, I think her name is, from Divergent. She's a bad villain, but he can talk the talk and walk the walk. Now, I discussed this in a book tag that I've either posted or I'm going to post about why I really like his villainous character. But I defend him as a character because he's one of those good villains that you want to read about. Not like good as in like a good person, but like good as an interesting, intriguing character. And I defend him because without the books, if they had a character like Janine or like a boring villain, it wouldn't be as good. Without him, it wouldn't make The Hunger Games, and it wouldn't make Katniss's plight as great if she had a two-dimensional evil character. It makes her success and how she overcomes things much more, it makes what she went through and how she overcame everything way more satisfying, having basically be a very evil character. Number 4 is Becky Bloomwood from the Shopaholic series by Sophie Kinsella. Now, a lot of people might be wondering, seeing a lot of this hate I'm seeing for certain characters comes off me reading Goodreads reviews. It's not as much BookTube. I do see hate on BookTube about characters, but I feel like it's more rampant in Goodreads. Maybe it's just the reviews I'm reading or the reviews I follow, but a lot of these aren't even reviews I follow. They're just more like I look up books I like and see what people are saying about them. Becky Bloomwood is a character that people don't like after a while. The first few books are oh, she was fine, but she gets so annoying and stuff like that. But her character is a happy-go-lucky character. Her character is not one that's going to be moody and down, and she does have her quirks, and she does have, things wrong, because everybody has something wrong with them that people can point out, probably. People pointing out lots of stuff wrong about me, to me, and, a lot of people pick on Becky's character, and I think, her character's fine. Yes, in the series, she's a shopaholic. She is going to shop a lot. But in the end, she's a good character to her friends and the people around her. And that's what really matters. Yeah, she has that, but the whole series would be made if it was called Shopaholic and that. People think that the series is going on too long and it's getting ridiculous. But you know what? I really don't like when people say that. When people say, oh, the series has gone on too long. You can stop reading whenever you want. You don't have to whine about it. Yeah, some series may be excessively long, but when people are like, maybe the series should have been shorter. Fine. But when I see Goodreads reviews, and especially certain series I love, and people are like, this book should be shorter, I don't even get who reads this because it's getting stupid. It's don't insult the books, because a lot of people do like them. If you don't want to read, just say, I think the series has gone too long, I'm opting out. But people just start, the later books, they start getting on, my nerves with, how their commentary going on about Becky and, even the series. So that's kind of wrapped up with characters I defend, is also I defend this series. But, it is a long series, but I think it's good, and it's just a fun series to read. It's nothing too serious. You can just pick it up whenever you want. Number 3 is Pretty Little Liars by Sarah Shepard, and it's the main girls, Emily, Hannah, Spencer, and Arya. Now, this comes from, there's a mixture. So this comes from the book hatred and the characters in the TV show, because a lot of people, even in their reviews, lump them together, I find. Or a lot of people just insult these characters regardless. Even if they're talking about the TV show, they say, even source material some people include. And the thing I don't get is people are oh, the girls are so stupid, why don't they do this? It's whatever they try to do, A gets them. They can get burner phones, and he's going to slip something in their pocket. And they won't know. And everybody's saying, oh, they're stupid, they don't do this, they don't do that. But at the end of the day, you're sitting at home, and you haven't been in the situation. Neither have I, so I can't really judge either. But the other thing that really bothers me is that people pick on them as, there wouldn't be a series. They're also teenagers. They're not going to make the best decisions all the time. They're still growing up. They're still finding out about who they are and what their life is going to be around. Also, sorry if the lighting keeps changing because it keeps ducking in and out. I just noticed that when I was talking. Sorry about that. But yeah, people just insult the characters so bad, and I'm certain characters I see individually, but people collectively lump the girls together and say they make dumb decisions and stuff like that, but they're teenagers at the end of the day. And even if you're not a teenager reading the book, I think you can appreciate that. And if you are a teenager reading the book, like even I've said probably like, oh, they make some stupid decisions, but at the end of the day, like, what would I have done any better, you know? Also, side note, I know I'm getting a bit vicious with my talking, like saying like, oh, like getting quite angry. It's not angry at a pointed person, it's just reviews I've been seeing, and I'm not targeting specifically anybody, it's just stuff I see. So I just want to make that clear, because I know sometimes when I'm spewing out defense, I kind of get more angry and can see targeted towards the viewer. It's not targeted against you. Even if you do feel this way, like, you don't have to agree with me, because obviously you don't, because that's why I'm defending the characters. But I'm not insulting anybody whose reviews and that. It's just how I feel like reviews should be handled, and it's my own opinion. And people have problems with probably how I do and how I express my opinions on certain books. So I just wanted to put that out there, because before I go any further, because I don't mean to insult anybody's viewpoint. If you guys think this way, like, I'm not saying you're wrong for thinking this way. That's just how I think, so it's my personal opinion. I just want to make that abundantly clear, that I'm not trying to insult anybody else's train of thought. This is my opinions only. So number 2 is Hammond from Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Now, I always say that really weird at the end. I'm like, Michael Crichton? I don't even know. And basically, Hammond is a character that a lot of people insult, and they say, like, he's, especially in the books, because I feel like in the movies, he's more jolly, like, not really jolly, but, like, he seems more friendly, more, like, I don't know, it's just something, like, the actors, maybe Aurora Richard Attenborough, I believe his name is, maybe, it's just, like, his atmosphere, I feel like he feels more like a warm person, whereas in the book, he's more cold and not really sinister, but he has such a dream that he will give up everything for his dream. And a lot of people insult him and, like, how he went through the park and saying, like, his idea was stupid, but at the end he had a dream. And this is not real. He didn't actually hurt all these people. This is fiction. And yes, he had a dream, but those people, well, actually some of the people on the island probably had to work for him, because there probably wasn't a lot of opportunity. But some of the people that are going to Jurassic Park, like Dr. Wu, stuff like that, like, they knew what was up. People know what was up, unless, like, well, obviously, you know, if you've watched the movie Ellie and what's his face? The character Sam Neill plays. How am I forget? Alan Grant. Alan Grant. Obviously they didn't really know what was up, but it's a very hard character to defend, but, like, I defend him because he had a dream, and he followed through with his dream, and even though it was crazy, some people knew about the craziness, and they didn't try to stop it either. So we can't really blame him without blaming the others, and I feel like he takes all the blame and all the heat. So I defend his character, because without his character, we wouldn't have had Jurassic, well, actually without Michael Crichton. But in the book, if we're talking about fiction, if without his character, we wouldn't have Jurassic Park, and it was still an amazing story. So I defend him, because he is actually one of my favorite book characters, I'd say, because he's a very complex and interesting character, and I think it's important, even though his dream went haywire, because it kind of gives a message. You can have crazy dreams, and they might go haywire, and they might not come true, but at least you tried. Even though that's a very extreme measure that he took, wouldn't advise it. And number 1 is Carl from Dying to Know You by Aidan Chambers. Now, this book gets a lot of hate for how it deals with mental health, because this book does deal with depression, suicidal thoughts, among the like. And Carl gets a lot of bashing. The thing I don't understand is that people bash Carl's mental health, and they say, like, especially the author, how he portrays Carl's mental health, and saying, like, oh, it's not realistic enough, and this is not what mental health looks like it's a bad representation. And all I have to say is we all have different experiences, so wouldn't how we go through mental health all be different? Like, I don't know about anybody else's experience in life, because I'm me, I live my life. Like, if you're going through depression like Carl was, and, like, kind of dark thoughts, I feel like it'd be all different for everybody. Like, it wouldn't be just one set case, because everybody's different. If we all had the same thing, they'd be able to like, if we all had the same kind of mental health problems, somebody could find a cure that would fix every single person. And there's not always a cure for people, and people have to work through stuff themselves. And mental health is a kind of sticky situation, because there's no really guidelines. It's different for everybody. So when somebody's saying the author didn't portray mental health right with Carl, and bashing on Carl's character for how he dealt with his issues, I just don't understand it, because even though Carl isn't a real person and you're not going to hurt his feelings, people probably felt the same way as Carl. Like, I identify with some of Carl's stuff, like, maybe not direct stuff, but, like, feeling upset and stuff, like, certain parts of it, like, it's like I can identify with it. I think a lot of people can identify with his mental health problems, and it's not just, or not mental health problems, but mental health issues. I don't really know the correct terminology, I'm sorry. I usually call it problems, but I'm referring, not in an offensive way, like, it's a, you know, like, I'm not trying to be offensive when I say that. That's what I call my learning problem. I call it a learning problem, not a learning, like, whatever they call it. So I kind of lump those in. So sorry about that if that was not the best way to talk about or, like, label the subject. But anyway, yeah, I don't understand that. Like, why are you gonna bash Carl? He was going for his life. He lived his life. And bashing his, like, how he went through mental health doesn't really add anything to the book. Like, he went through something and just work with it. It's different for everybody. And I feel like that's something that doesn't get said enough. That it's not just one thing. Just because you have a thing that is defined, like if you have depression, doesn't mean you go through it the same way Molly does or Sue does. Like, it's different for everybody. And we need to realize that and stop picking on Carl, because he's an amazing character and this is an amazing book. Have I mentioned that enough on my channel? Yes. Will I continue to mention it? Most definitely. And yes, that's my top 5 Wednesday. Sorry this one has been a bit longer, but I need to get that off my chest and defend these characters because they can't speak for themselves outside their source material, but I can. So I took it upon myself. And yes, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.